And Carl Malani is with us. We're going to talk hurling with Padraig Maher in just a minute. I know you were working on the minor All-Ireland final.
Yeah.
Unbelievable drama at the end of that game. Unbelievable heartbreak for Offaly, and probably a bit of righteous justification that they should have had a free out in the build-up to the goal.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of outcry on social media, I know, after the game from Offaly supporters that they should have had a free just before the free in was awarded for Tipperary. Probably justified. Having watched the coverage back, I think a lot of people would say that maybe they could have got a free out. But what a game, what an occasion, and the way to lose it is just absolute heartbreak for Offaly, because they dominated the game. They were 6 points ahead at half time. They were really on top. The crowd was behind them. They looked in total control, and even with all the players back, the fact that McCormick got that flick to it, what a finish it was, by the way.
Like, that's the other thing, you know, the never say die attitude from the Tipp miners is something that it's very hard to coach that level of resilience. You can work on it and you can talk about it, but for them to just have that as well.
Yeah, I mean, what an achievement. And the scenes, I mean, they were so chaotic, because a puck out happened after that goal went in, and the sideline was very chaotic at that stage, and then the final whistle was blown. Offaly actually got possession from the puck out and had a chance, but they lost possession and Tipperary won it back, and then the final whistle was blown. But what a game, what an occasion. Sellout crowd in Nolan Park. Just wonder for the players at that age, when they're only 16 and 17, it's such a difficult thing to comprehend for the Offaly players that it was just taken from them right at the very end. But what a great occasion.
Padraig Maher is with us. Padraig, good morning to you. How are you?
How are you doing, lads?
Yeah, before we get to the seniors, the response in Tipperary to the minors, are just saying they're incredible fortitude for them to come back from 6 points down and to come back at the last minute and to win it. Heartbreak for Offaly, and I'm sure your heart goes out to them, but at the same time, there's something steely about that Tipp minor team as well.
Yeah, you know, I was down there during myself yesterday in Nolan Park, and well, I suppose it was an unbelievable occasion. You know, 27,000 people all there for the minors. You know, if that was above in Crow Park, you know, everyone's there primarily for the senior game, and the minor game probably gets overlooked. So, first of all, it's a fantastic occasion. The atmosphere was unbelievable, and the game lived up to the atmosphere and the occasion then as well. It was just unbelievable, and the way to finish then, obviously, you know, Tipperary would be absolutely delighted the way they snuck the victory, but you'd have to feel for Offaly, like, you know, to lose an All-Ireland like that, and especially when you're only 16, 17 years of age, that is tough, like, but you'd be hoping that they learn from it and they'll use the experience going forward to help them, because there's some cracking hurlers.
Yeah, and hopefully that's the rebirth of Offaly hurling, or the start of it anyway, because it'd be great to see them back competing for Leinster titles the way, you know, they were 20 years ago. Let's talk a little bit about the Saturday game first then, if we can get your thoughts on that, Padraig. The non-appearance of Clare in that first half, obviously Kilkenny need to get huge credit for it. It's one of the all-time great 35 minutes from Kilkenny. It's right up there with their All-Ireland final against Waterford all those years ago, with a completely different team. So how do you judge that? Is it Clare not showing up? Is it Kilkenny? Is it all on Kilkenny's greatness in that first half? What's the split?
I would say Kilkenny definitely upped their performance, obviously, from what they've been producing the last couple of weeks. You know, they were absolutely outstanding all over the pitch, and they put so much pressure on Clare. But at the same time, there was a bit of a malfunction in Clare. You know, they kind of were going away from what they were doing in Munster a bit. Look, they were so direct with the ball, and that's what Kilkenny love. I know from my own experience down through the years, and it's the way the Kilkenny players are brought up. They're used to that man-on-man, you know, high field, and, you know, beat your own man, their own position. And Clare kind of played into their hands that way. You know, they were just dumping the ball down the field, and fair enough, you had Peter Duggan in that in the full forward line for Clare, but, you know, Hugh Lawler and these lads just gobble up them high balls, and it suited them down to the ground. So I would say, you know, 60% if it was Kenny's performance and the way they approached the game, and, you know, the other 40 of them was kind of Clare, a bit of malfunction from what they were used to over the last couple of weeks.
Do you think Clare got in their own heads a little bit in preparation for this game then, going away from what it was that had made them so brilliant in Munster over the last 2 months?
I wouldn't say that. Like, you know, Clare, that's why their third appearance in Crow Park since 2013 final, including the 2013 final. So, you know what, you can't say that they probably got ahead of themselves. You know, it's just, I suppose, the pressure of and the occasion of the semi-final, and then obviously again, as we spoke about, the pressure that Kilkenny put on them, and, Kilkenny are used. That's Kilkenny's backyard for all the world after Nolan Park. That's where they play all their hurling mostly. So, they're well used to the occasion and the surroundings, I suppose. And I suppose Clare probably the occasion maybe got from a small bit. But you'd have to say, look, fair enough, Clare didn't produce what they have produced in Munster. But Kilkenny definitely upped it.
Oh, Skype has gone there to Padraig. We'll get him back in a second. I guess my point is did Clare overthink it a little bit, like going away from the patterns of play that have been so spectacularly successful for them, and maybe they weren't allowed to. I don't know. That's the bit that we'll have to try and sift through over the next 2 weeks.
Well, I guess the point still stands that Clare had 24 wides. So that suggests that Kilkenny maybe weren't as bulletproof as the final result might suggest. And you have to ask the question, why did Clare have so many wides? Is that a combination of factors in terms of back in Croke Park, the pressure Kilkenny exerted on them, the pressure of playing in an All-Ireland semi-final, or was it just an off day? Maybe a combination of all of those sort of factors. But definitely a sense from Clare's point of view that, if you even reduce that wides tally by 6 or 7, you're kind of in the game and still hanging on, even when they were struggling at various stages. Disappointing end to the season for them. Obviously, they exerted so much energy in the Munster Championship as well that maybe it just was a bridge too far. But from Brian Cody's point of view, he has masterminded this again. They're timing the run to perfection, and it's not that long ago that we were saying that the Leinster Championship final against Galway was subpar in terms of its standard. And then you see the turnaround in Kilkenny's performance the last day. And I think it's Eddie Brennan writing in the Independent this morning about how they love to have that 4-week break when he was playing as well. That it was the ideal preparation time from a Kilkenny point of view, and that you can get the previous fixture out of the system, the lads can have a night out, then you can have your training weekend, and then these internal matches that we hear so much about from a Kilkenny point of view.
It sounds like they were doing a lot of that.
Yeah,
that's what Cody was saying, they were doing a lot of that. Padraig Maher's back with this. The point that Cathal makes about the wides that Clare had, again, is that malfunction that we're talking about. A lot of that is on them, some of it's on Kilkenny, and that's the thing that's going to annoy them. But it's also, I wonder, perhaps the thing that gives them a bit of comfort. They created a lot of chances, and next time they're there, they'll actually be more used to the surroundings, and they should be able to score points at a higher clip.
Yeah, definitely. They produce a lot of I suppose chances, but look, I'd argue then as well that they had 24 wides, but probably 10 or 12 of them shouldn't even be taken on from the positions in the field, I felt myself. But they did get a lot of opportunities, and again, maybe it was just that obviously lack of execution, but a bit of composure in the big day maybe as well, and the thing was away from them, fairly early on. So a lot of wides, and you can't afford to be shooting that amount of wides in an Ireland semi-final against Kilkenny, especially when Kilkenny are so in form.
The thing about the growth of this Kilkenny team is that they've actually unearthed starters who are as good as anybody else in the country in almost every line of the pitch. We've known for ages that Adrian Mullen was going to be really good. He got his injury, he's recovered from his injury, he's back to where he was. We've known for ages that Owen Cody was going to be good. They're 2 young hurlers of the year, but they're now like proper, they're men and they're playing like men. It's the defence that has added stereotypical teak tough Kilkenny defenders who are not backing down, but who also have ball playing skills that are able to find little pockets of space for the man that they're passing to. So is that what's transformed Kilkenny from a team who we didn't really think were genuine All-Ireland contenders into a team who now are All-Ireland contenders, clearly?
Yeah, definitely they've evolved their game in the last few weeks, definitely. Obviously Kilkenny were renowned for their more direct approach to the game, but they're definitely mixing it up now with the short ball. Richie Reid, centre back there, sitting in the pocket, is definitely, after changing their style even himself alone, because, he's able to give that long ball, obviously, but he's very good at picking out treading the ball through the middle of the field as well, the short 30 or 40 pass that opens up defences. So they're definitely evolving, and as you said, their units, their back unit was absolutely outstanding. They have that grit, determination that you associate with all the Kilkenny backlines, but they're all well able to hurl themselves, great ball players. You can see, Tommy Walsh, cornerback, Hugh Lawler is one of the best backs in the country. Young Mikey Butler's performance, that spoke for itself, keeping Tony Kelly so quiet. So, they're absolutely outstanding hurlers individually, but as a unit, they're so gritty, determined, and, they don't give you an inch, or they don't give you anything soft. And I suppose that's what we've come to expect from Brian Cody teams down through the years. And they definitely, that performance is definitely after making them, putting them up in lights and bringing them on another level or two on Saturday there.
How much does the semi-final from a couple of years back in 2019 actually matter? How much does it feed into any of the conversations that are happening in the Limerick changing room or even amongst the Limerick management team? Is there any relevance to that game at all, to this game coming in 2 weeks?
I think myself that Limerick will have that in the back of their minds, that the one blip they've had since 2018 has been that game against Kilkenny in 2019, and Kilkenny probably definitely deserved to win that day. Their work rate was absolutely savage that day, because we'd been watching it because we were on the other side of the draw the same year. But I think Limerick will have that in the back of their minds. Obviously they're a very process-driven team, and they know what goals they have ahead of them. But that will be in the back of their mind, I feel, as well, that these lads put a stop to us in 2019. We're going to get one over them. They're probably the one team we haven't beaten to win an All-Ireland, so they'll probably want to polish it off, win the 3 in a row by beating Kilkenny, and they'll feel like they have everyone beaten en route over the last number of years, and no one will be able to have any question marks over them after it. So I think it'll play a small bit into the psyche of Limerick, not a whole lot, but it will be that small little bit prodding into them that, lads, we have to prove these lads wrong and prove everyone wrong. And I feel that it will give them a small bit of an edge going into the final.
In a way, the semi-final, the performance from Galway was kind of the perfect tester for Limerick. It was right to the edge, but it wasn't perfect from Galway. Like, Galway also will regret the wides that they had and taken on some shots, and the shot selection wasn't great for them, and at various stages when they really needed it to just be a little bit better. So Limerick have plenty to work on, but they are through to the All-Ireland final, and they do have 2 key players returning who got a little bit of game time. Not much of an impact on the match yesterday, but certainly you would expect Lynch and Casey to be available for more hurling and more action in the final. So what did you make of Limerick's performance?
Yeah, I suppose it was workmanlike. Individually, to be probably a few players that probably weren't overly happy with the performance, but I don't think they'll care at the end of the day. They, as a unit, got the job done. Galway threw everything at them. In fairness to Galway, I was one of them that didn't give them a chance. I thought to be a 7, 8, 9 point gap between the two of them at the end of the day, but Galway proved a lot of people wrong yesterday. In fairness to them, they put everything into it. Fights probably came against them in the finish, but Limerick will be so happy leaving there yesterday. The clip of the final whistle going and Paul Connacht embracing John Kiley, and Paul Connacht just puffing out his cheeks, in pure relief. Like, they were just happy to get the job done, get over Galway and get back to the final. And look, individually, probably a few performance levels dropped in Limerick, but as a whole, as a unit, including the subs bench, they all contributed to getting them over the line, and as you said there, getting Cian Lynch, Peter Casey back in the field. But the one man then that the Galway lads forgot about was David Reedy, and I think he changed the game for Limerick when he came on.
How does somebody like Reedy come on and do that? Like, what is it about this Limerick team that allows them to have players who are capable in that instance where the team is up against it for the first time in a long time, really, in a match like where it's knockout, and I don't know, it's such a good sign of the culture that somebody is able to come on and have that impact.
Exactly, yeah. And they talk about this panel and a 26-man game, and even the 4 or 5 lads that aren't talking on the day, everyone contributes, in training, and that makes the team and the panel better for game day. And Limerick are showing that at the moment, taking off Gerard Hegarty, Tom Morrissey, Seamus Flanagan, Graham Mulcahy, all off the field, in the forward line. That's massive, and you think Galway are getting their job done, but then they bring in the likes of David Reedy. I think he came on midfield, so maybe it helped that he was finding pockets of space. He was actually setting up moves and finishing off the moves in a couple of occasions, and he got some cracking scores. And maybe, there was so much line out in the Limerick forwards and the 2 lads that came on that maybe really got that bit more space than that he was afforded. But that's just the culture they have, and everyone's contributing. And if anyone's to look on, or any young fellas to look on, you just look at his contribution from deciding that, look, you're not starting every day, but you're coming on, you're making massive contributions, and his contribution is one of the main reasons why Limerick are in the final.
How will Galway feel this winter? Will they feel like they've made progress and that there's something starting, or will they feel like that was a big chance blown?
I'd say if I put myself into a Galway pair of shoes now this morning, or Henry Shefflin's, they'll probably feel like a missed opportunity that they had, Limerick on the rack. They were giving everything. They were fighting, harassing, harrying all over the pitch, the middle third, especially in the second half. They just didn't put them away. They weren't clinic enough with, their shooting. Again, near the end, when they fell a point behind, there was a few aimless long balls, again, similar to what they done the day before, that probably, played into Limerick's hands as Limerick were sitting back. And they're the times, they're the moments you talk about throughout the year, that you keep your composure, maybe play one or two sharp passes and work a score like they'd done early on in the game, and that just went away from in the end. So I feel like Galway will probably think it's a missed opportunity this morning. As I said, Limerick probably weren't on fire on all cylinders individually, and that was their opportunity, as I said, before their starting forwards taken off. But again, Galway probably will be disgusted, especially after losing the Leinster final. But again, I suppose they finish in a bit of a high that they performed, that they know they can get to that level and challenge the All-Ireland champions. So for Henry, there's plenty to work on for next year, but there is a lot of, I suppose, positives there too, that they can play with the best and mix with the best.
Great mind games from John Kiley in the interview that we played just before you came on there, where at the end of it he was talking about Kilkenny obviously being the form team heading into the All-Ireland. You're like, not sure anybody is going to be making Limerick underdogs. They can try, but I don't think it's going to work from Kiley and Connacht's perspective. But look, as you said, there's that little chip on their shoulder about the fact that this could be a 5 in a row that they're going for. Instead, it's not, because Kilkenny obviously interrupted it. So how do you think the two teams match up?
Yeah, I think John Kiley's been he's playing a few mind games there already, and even Shane Dowling yesterday in the Sunday game had a few similar comments as well. But look, that's naturally going to happen with when teams are facing each other. But matching them up, look, to me, Limerick are favourites. I'd expect Limerick to win, but nothing like what we thought they were going to do with the Galway. I think Kilkenny are going to come with all guns blazing. Brian Cody's after getting back into the Ireland final. You go head-to-head player for player. There probably isn't a whole pile in it individually. Obviously Limerick have a fantastic unit and a squad, but then you see like Kilkenny, then they have Walter Wall coming on. Richie Hogan was held in reserve, Killian Buckley was held in reserve, Conor Fogarty was as well. There's a lot of experience in that Kilkenny bench as well. So look, Kilkenny are going to have the confidence too of 2019 of what they can do to Limerick when they bring all the aggression and work rate, and but again, it's going to be fascinating because, as I said, Limerick have probably that chip in their shoulder with Kilkenny, but Kilkenny won't be afraid. Kilkenny are never afraid of playing anyone, and so it's the makings of a fantastic game. I think Limerick will win by a couple of points, but again, you won't be surprised if Brian Cody pulls this out of the fire with Kilkenny. And to me, if he does, it could probably be his best All Ireland since he took over Kilkenny, however it was 23 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, that is saying something. Padraig, great to have you with us this morning. Thanks a million for taking the call. Cheers.
No bother, boys. Mind yourself.
Tipp legend Padraig Maher there, giving us some thoughts at the weekend.